Hey guys, Maven here. Now, from 2001 through 2005, I was a WWE wrestler. And in the 20 plus years I've been gone, a lot has changed, from the unwritten rules to the backstage culture. So to find out what those differences are, I brought two of my buddies in today, MXM, Mace and Mansoor. We're gonna be talking about the backstage politics, the unwritten rules, and the culture of the locker room. So, guys, are you ready to get into the first question?
Bring it on! Yeah! We're gonna burn all our bridges!
Question one, do WWE wrestlers get to keep the belts? Now, when I was the hardcore champion, the 3 times I was hardcore champion, I would take it home, but I didn't get to necessarily keep it. What was it like when you were there?
Well, you're asking the wrong guys because we were losers.
We didn't win a single belt or title.
Yes, they're called championship titles. I don't know.
Belt holds up your pants.
Back in your day, I'm sure you were allowed to say the word belt, but we were actually banned from saying the word belt because a belt, as Mansoor says, holds up your pants.
Once you have the belt, you are the champion. You get to carry it around, keep it home. Of course, the reason they do that is because they don't want to carry it around. They want you to carry it around.
All right.
You have to put it in your luggage, right? When you're flying places, you got to put that in your bag and lug it around. And the only way I could see that really being a benefit is if you're the money in the bank holder, because then you can actually put your stuff in there.
Carry on.
True.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of guys backstage, they had their own crates. I won't mention any names.
So they do still have crates.
Okay.
They have crates for certain people's entrance gear.
Yes.
And they also have crates for the TV version of the belts.
So you're telling me there's 2 versions of an Intercontinental Championship, a tag team championship?
Absolutely. So what they do is they have one that you carry around in your bag and gets dinged up, and it might not be the prettiest version of the belt.
So it's not TV ready?
Not
That's
for
the one
TV.
you take to house shows.
Yes.
Got you.
That's for the unwashed matches to wash. So after that, you have the TV version, which is shined up and polished real nice. Got the nice side plates on it. That's TV ready.
Literally had no clue. Question 1, I'm already learning stuff. I know they are, Dan. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
All right, guys. How do WWE wrestlers get paid? Now, what I mean by this, during my time, I was on pay sheets, meaning I was going to get a percentage of ticket sales for every show, all the non-televised show. And each week, as long as I was on pay sheets, my check was going to be different every Tuesday when I got it. Not to mention, I got a hard copy check sent to me in the mail. Guaranteed that's not how it is for you.
No, not even close. Actually, you were just talking about this week, right?
So we do get a check in the mail every week, but it's the same number every time.
Every time.
No matter how many shows you work, no matter how many times you wrestle, even if you don't wrestle at all, you get the same payment every single week. We get guaranteed money no matter what.
In a way, you're actually not incentivized to work because when you're working house shows, when you're doing all of these dates, you have to pay for your car, you have to pay for your hotel.
Yes.
And the only thing we don't pay for is our flights.
Yeah.
So if you were just sitting
Same in my time.
right. If you were just sitting at home and hurt, then in that situation, you're just getting your your weekly paycheck.
There's pros and cons, right? Because let's say I tore my ACL and I was out for a year, and that whole time I was sitting at home, I'd be making the exact same money I was making if I was working 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, now during my time, we had pay sheets, and then we had the downside guarantee, meaning we were gonna get paid the same each and every week. And as soon as you would come off of an injury and go back on the road, we would immediately say, put me back on pay sheets, because we knew we could make more. We were incentivized to work because we knew the amount that I would make. The last contract I signed, I believe my downside was around, I think it was like 125 or 130,000. And I knew I had the chance to make 3 times each week if I was on house shows or if I did the full loop, as we called it. So they incentivize us to be out there.
It's also a little bit different now because what they have now is it's called the bucket system, which does.
This is not
new
bucket
term system is completely different. So we do still have a downside.
Okay.
And everything you do, actually you get paid technically, and it goes into this bucket. But as long as your bucket doesn't overflow, you just get your downside.
It's very complicated, but this is basically what it means. It's every time you work a show, you get an invisible payment that doesn't actually go into your bank account.
Okay.
It goes into a metaphorical bucket. The top of the bucket is your downside.
Hold on. Did they actually call this a bucket?
The bucket
Yes.
system.
Okay. Bucket system.
So you said your downside was 125?
My last contract I ever signed, 125, 3 months before they let me go.
So if your downside is $125,000, and let's say every time you work a show, they make an invisible payment of $1,000. Now you don't see that $1,000 until you make $125,000 worth of bookings on top of your downside. So anything above $125,000 that you make is extra, as a bonus for you. So let's say you sell a ton of t-shirts, right?
Yeah, so merch also goes into the bucket.
That's right. So we didn't see any extra money for merchandise. It all went into our bucket.
Wait a minute, you guys don't get royalties?
Not unless you sell so much that it outperforms your downside.
Pay-per-view checks. Do you get pay-per-view check? I couldn't wait to get a pay-per-view
You
check.
get paid the exact same amount whether or not you're on the pay-per-view or not.
Unless they decide to pay you more than your downside for a pay-per-view. So let's say if my downside was $125,000 and I worked a Saudi show, which is ka-ching, ka-ching, and they decide to pay you $150,000, well then you're gonna make $25,000 bonus because that's on top of your downside.
But hold on, that's an arbitrary number. Who's to say how much each show is worth?
The wizard on the mountain that decides who gets paid what.
When they look into the magic orb and say, you're gonna make this much money because we've decided that's how valuable you are to the company.
So the problems I'm seeing in my head are the problems that actually existed backstage.
And get this, so if you were working a lot of house shows, if you were on TV every week, if you were on every pay-per-view, and if you were selling a lot of t-shirts, something that happened pretty frequently is all of a sudden you stop going on house shows.
Right, when you approach your downside in your bucket,
Convenient.
just as much conveniently, right when you're about to make a little bit of extra money.
We don't need you for house shows this week.
Yeah, we got nothing for you.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how that always happens? It's the damnedest thing. Ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Who was the locker room leader? Obviously, I've said it. My time, Undertaker. How about in your time?
Our time was a little bit different because we were kind of in this time period where guys were just realizing that they were the locker room leaders. So we were on a European tour, and we were on this show with the New Day and the Usos. They were main eventing most of the shows in the UK. And at the end of the tour, Xavier Woods and Kofi, they were talking to us over a game of Tekken, and they were like, hey, we should probably be watching the shows. And then we were like, why? And he was like, because I think we're Undertaker now. It's always been Undertaker.
Always.
To those guys, it was Undertaker.
Always.
But all of a sudden, those guys realized it's like, listen, we've been here for 10, 15 years.
They were the veterans.
We're the vets.
Yeah.
We're not the kids anymore.
I remember Jimmy Uso looking at me and being like, man, you weren't around for JBL, man. You weren't around for JBL. God, I wish you were.
He wouldn't have let you get around.
Because it was like, I wish I could be JBL. I wish I could. I can't.
Things were definitely different during my time. There were guys, JBL being one of them, but guys obviously like Bob Holly, JBL, Ron Simmons. I mean, my God, Ron Simmons, when he walked into a room, you did exactly what that man wanted.
Yeah.
And you guys didn't have that per se, did you?
Well, it's much more laid back. John Cena wasn't around. Roman, obviously, is not there necessarily every week. In terms of like the guys, the top guys in the locker room, Seth, well, what's changed now is a lot of guys have their own buses.
Okay.
So it's almost like they're not really in the locker room because they got their own space, which is great for them.
Now, wait a minute. When they pull up in these buses, do they go into catering, get their meal, and then go back to their buses?
Yeah.
I mean,
sometimes.
Man, get the hell out of here.
Randy Orton, who
I know who
you're
you're
good
talking
friends
about.
with. Yeah,
I know who you were talking about.
You're good friends with him. He would actually just fully be in the locker room.
Gotcha.
Which we always really appreciated about him because he was obviously the top of the top guys.
Yeah. One of the things I took from my time from being there was it didn't matter what place you were on the card, you'd be sitting right next to me changing in a locker room. I'd be sitting next to a Bill Goldberg, a Shawn Michaels, Triple H. It didn't matter. Not many guys had their own buses back then. So we all were just the boys. So, I mean, it almost sounds like now Not necessarily like that.
A lot of time, guys, they either have their own locker room or they have their own buses, but that isn't to say that they aren't supportive and helpful and giving us advice. It's just that there isn't really that presence policing a lot.
Gotcha.
And a lot of the guys who are in the position where they can police it, I don't think they realize they're in that position.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think it
because they don't feel like I'm not the Undertaker. I'm not, I'm not these guys.
I also think they probably just don't want to admit that they're old.
Yeah.
Because you have to be a certain age to be able to do that kind of thing. And I think if I was them, I'd be like, no, I don't want to be that.
I'm one of the kids.
No, I'm still young.
Admit it, life gets a lot easier when you do. Does a wrestler's court still exist? Now, I did a video about wrestler's court, and if you don't remember, you did not see it. Wrestler's court was, during my time, a way where wrestlers could police themselves, but do it in a humorous way, a funny way, still get a point across, but not necessarily take it up to the office if there was an issue. Does that still exist?
We used to joke about it all the time because we'd always say, like, if somebody got stiffed or if a spot went wrong, if somebody got hit accidentally, not stiffed, if somebody got hit accidentally, or a spot goes wrong, something goes wrong, we're like, that's wrestler's core. You're gonna have to bring a bottle of Jack. Bring a bottle of Jack.
So people were still referring to Taker.
Yeah.
We knew of wrestler's court,
But you guys did not have
never
wrestler's
happened.
court.
No,
Never.
Get out.
it never came up.
Anyone who was being taken to wrestler's court, you knew they were guilty.
100% conviction rate.
Defense attorney, because I would have fought with my life.
All we were trying to do was take someone who did something maybe a little sketchy, a little suspect, and let them know, hey, we know.
Exactly.
Put them on blast.
We know what you did.
Yeah.
And then make light of it and make it fun. And surprisingly, whatever behavior took place, it was gone. Sometimes Vince would even come and he would be laughing, and it was lighthearted. Whenever there was a wrestler's court, we knew that it was going to be.
That sounds completely different because you could never get Vince to come out of his catacombs when we were there.
No, well, he would hole up in his office all day, and there'd be a line a mile long.
You'd have to get past like a bodyguard.
You're not getting me into that.
Yeah.
You're not getting me into there was a line for Vince a mile long for anything. Next question.
Whoa.
This is deep.
Guys, go into it.
I thought this was something.
We fucking stumped you.
I thought it was a thought experiment.
We fucking stumped you. That's my production department. That's my production department.
That's really to say that nothing has changed.
Do WWE wrestlers use steroids? Now, before we started, I told you if you're not comfortable with answering a question, you don't have to. After this one. During my time, listen, I was on, I missed those days. I admit it, I loved the way I looked. I'm not saying other guys were on, but I'm certainly not saying they weren't. I know you guys had the wellness policy. Go.
We can only speak to our own experience.
Which I appreciate.
Yes.
Which I appreciate.
So there is a wellness policy that they take very seriously. People are randomly tested every month, which we would get picked up for often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Randomly.
Was there a reason?
Well, the reason was because we never popped.
Okay, that's fine.
I was randomly selected like how I was randomly selected at TSA.
Oh, okay.
I was gifted with incredible genetics from my incredibly genetically superior parents.
That's true.
Mansoor, what about you?
Me, I'm not genetically superior. I'm actually pretty much bottom of the pile chick. I'm somebody where when I eat, if I eat a ton of food, it doesn't go to my legs, it doesn't go to my, it doesn't go to my chest, it goes right here. Right into these lung holes. It's just one of those things where, yes, we have a wellness policy. There are ways to get around it. Everybody knows that because testosterone replacement therapy is something that people do.
Gotcha.
Where if you have a low amount of testosterone, I guess people don't really know this, but you have a certain amount of testosterone in your body, right? And if that's below a certain threshold, then medically speaking, you can get a prescription.
Yeah, you can get approved for it.
And if you get a prescription,
I know.
then if you get a prescription, WWE doctors are like, well,
You have a prescription.
and a prescription.
Take your medicine.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm not going to say who, obviously,
Right.
but I do know guys who would, right before getting their blood work done to test how much testosterone they did,
Right.
they'd eat a ton of junk food, McDonald's.
Make sure they're nice and low.
Shakes,
Yeah.
wouldn't sleep. They jerk off. So their testing would
Right from rock bottom. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's got no test.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, we need to load him up with testosterone immediately.
Right now, we gotta get a needle in this guy.
Someone call Frank Thomas.
There's ways to get around
Okay.
it, but I will say, obviously,
Yeah.
like, it's so, because it has to go through a doctor,
Yeah.
nobody's going to.
You can't abuse it in the way that you could probably.
One thing I noticed was after the wellness policy, during my time, the locker room was as most intimidating place on earth to me. I would walk back there, and I remember my first time being at Raw and SmackDown and just walking in and thinking, I'm amongst monsters.
Yeah.
And I tell people, a WWE locker room, it's like high school, but imagine high school where everybody is the prom king.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what it is. Like everybody in there, and then jacked up. It was intimidating. So when I found these doctors during my time, I was all too eager. Load me up. Do WWE wrestlers prank each other? Obviously, during my day, we called that ribbing. Did you guys play ribs on each other?
Well, there's definitely still ribs.
Yeah, there's definitely
Definitely still
ribs.
ribs. Do we have any particularly good rib stories?
Here's what I'll say though, the standard for a rib
Okay.
has changed dramatically.
Yes.
Because if I do recall, a rib used to be, oh, haha, I killed your dog. Oh, haha, I slashed your tires.
Yeah.
Oh, haha, I put shit in your sandwich.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
not a rib, that's assault.
Now a rib would be like, I changed the inputs for your controller on the PlayStation. You're really embarrassed now, aren't you?
Again,
Now a rib would be, ooh, I made you wear mismatched socks.
a world I'm not familiar with. Al Snow ribbed me one time, and he put and if we can't say this, edit it out. When I was the hardcore champion, leaving Dallas DFW Fort Worth Airport, I'm walking through TSA at 6 in the morning, and TSA is looking at my bag, looking at me, calling people over. They're coming over, looking at my bag, looking at me. And I'm thinking, yeah, they just want to be around a champion. Drink it in, drink it in. No, when I got to Charlotte and I opened my bag, there was a 10-inch chin strap dildo in my bag. So not only do these TSA agents think I can't fly without it, but it has to be up top, displayed perfectly. And I told him that rib paid dividends, because afterwards, for whatever reason, when I got home, I didn't throw it away. I don't know why. I put it in my laundry room, and every Monday I would have a cleaning lady that would come and clean my house because I was at Raw, and she would leave me a note, and I get home on Tuesday and I see the note. Hey, saw your toy, lot of questions.
Oh, I thought you were
And
going to say she cleans it for you.
she might have. It went in the garbage after that. But I remember hearing stories of the ribs that Mr. Fuji would play on. Supposedly he hooked a guy to the hood of the car. They drugged him, knocked him out, put him to the hood of a car, and the guy woke up going down the highway. Like you said, there's a difference between fun and assault.
Yeah.
Fine line.
Here's a lighthearted rib that happened to me. To give you an example of the kind of ribs that happen now. So I take a long time to work on my hair. I'm very proud of my, hey, no offense. My beautiful head of hair.
Just dig it in a little harder.
Only things that I have left, okay? This hairline is still level, and you can see it.
He takes pills for it every day.
Pills, okay? We're not talking about that. We're talking about this hair. So, before a segment where we were all about to go up to a wall and look at a list, it was going to be the participants in a battle royal for a #1 contendership spot for the title, right? We're all supposed to go, oh, am I on the list?
Right.
Am I on the list? So I do my hair, I gel it up, I get it perfect, and I'm right in front, right in front, looking at the name. And they're counting down. They go 5, 4, 3, 2, and right before 1, Ivar, the Viking, comes up to me and goes,
So you couldn't do anything. That's good. That's good. That's
so
good.
that's the kind of nothing that put my life at risk.
Yeah. It's gonna be a while before I understand that you changed the settings on my PlayStation controller. I don't know if I understand that one yet. Next question. What do WWE wrestlers do for fun? Hey, during my time, I'll let you guys answer this.
You're not allowed to say.
It's not so different.
Okay.
Let me tell you how. We're on the European tour, right?
All right.
Final match, final show of the tour, right? Everybody's feeling good.
Yeah.
We're tired. We want to let off some steam.
Right.
So what happens? Xavier Woods, right? He's sort of the ringleader for all the
Okay.
fun. And he says,
I can see that.
Yeah.
hey, listen, we're all going to get together. We got a conference room in the hotel, and we're going to party. And so I call my boy. I know a guy in Europe. He owns a chain of restaurants. His name's John. But he also does some things on the side, and I say, hey, get us some extras if you catch my drift, right? And what comes to the hotel? 10 boxes of extra large pizzas, stuffed crust.
Not where I thought that was going, guys. Not where I thought that was going.
Papa John's brought it, and it was beautiful. And we played Tekken all.
You're kidding me.
We put the PlayStations on the projectors.
Projector on the
there were
wall.
screens on the wall. We had 2 systems set up.
Oh.
Well, we didn't even sleep.
Nope, not at all. We stayed
All-nighter.
We stayed up all the way to 2 a.m.
You're fucking with me. Like, really?
Yeah.
You guys really went in the conference room and played video games?
Yeah.
Were there strippers dancing while like you were playing these games?
No.
Was there
No, the
alcohol?
We're at the strip club.
Were there alcohol there?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, we did not partake.
Zimas?
What?
You guys are too young. You don't even know what Zimas
Are
are.
those the
do you?
aliens from
Oh
Alien?
my God.
Dolph?
Okay, was there, what do you guys drink now, high noons?
Is that like a cowboy thing?
God, you guys don't even know.
Oh, one thing about me and Mansoor is we don't drink. We
Good.
don't smoke.
Good for
Our
you.
only,
do drugs.
yeah, our only addiction is competition. All right. But some of the other boys obviously partake in a couple of beverages.
Okay, all
I'll
right.
tell you this, guys love to vape.
Yeah, a lot of vaping.
Yeah, lots of vape.
Big vape culture.
Huge.
WrestleMania 18, I had my spot with Undertaker during the Royal Rumble, and I get a call as soon as I checked into the hotel, and it was Big from that season 1 of Tough Enough, and he said, get down to the lobby immediately, and I didn't want to go. I was like, I'm just getting checked in. He's like, no, Undertaker's telling you to get down here. So I go down to the lobby, and he had a full bottle of Jack Daniels, and he told me, you're not leaving this lobby until this is done. Fortunately for me, Jack's water to me.
Sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know what I would do in that
But
scenario. 'Cause
really, because I respect the fact you guys don't drink and smoke and everything. I fully 100% respect that. That's good on you. But it's just amazing to me just how much times have changed. But just like with the last question with steroids, it's changed for the better.
Yeah.
It's definitely changed for the
I
better.
think the worst thing that the wrestlers are going to have to deal with in a couple of years now is like carpal tunnel.
Yeah, I was gonna say sore thumbs.
Your sore thumbs. Yeah, you're not going to have to worry about the life expectancy as much anymore, which I think is really good.
And I've noticed because there was a lot of guys that just aren't around from my time, and there were guys during my time that we were losing and losing way too soon. Good on you. Good on you for moving past that. And I will give the company credit for instituting a wellness policy. It was needed. It's partaking in what we partook had its limits. So much respect and my hat's off to each of you. Next question. Definitely not the last one.
Got it. Stay, stop, don't click that button.
Yeah.
And make sure you like and subscribe.
Oh, God, I never say that. I never say
I'll
that.
say it for you.
Click like and subscribe. Click like and subscribe.
That little bell.
Do WWE wrestlers get days off?
Boy, do we.
Discussed this earlier, and again, with the pay sheets as opposed to downside guarantee, we were encouraged to be on the road. Tell me, would you guys get days off? And if so, did you want them?
Well, unfortunately, we got a lot of days off. Sometimes they would just say, yeah, we don't need you. Yeah, we don't need you for anything.
We got nothing for you.
Yeah, we've got nothing for you. Don't come to TV, don't come to house shows, and you just sit at home and you feel like you're going completely insane because It is completely out of your control. There's nothing you can do.
I don't know how it was with when you guys were there for house shows or non-televised events, but we had to be there an hour before the show. So if a match, show started at 7, we had to be there by 6. Unlike the 1 o'clock, you'd have to be there for TV.
Yeah.
Was it the same with you?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
Generally.
Later call time for the untelevised events, but the ones that were on TV had to be there way early.
Yeah.
First of all, because you don't know what you're doing until you get there.
100%.
Right? And then there's hours of rehearsals, and that could always change. They're always rewriting stuff.
All day.
Time. You
All
might
day.
be on TV at noon, and then by 4 o'clock, you're cut off the show.
Yep.
And then by 6 o'clock, you're back on, but they cut your time by 6 minutes. 1 minute to work your match.
We had a lot of that. You have a 6-minute match, and then 5 minutes before you go up to Gorilla, oh yeah, we're gonna need you to shave 3 minutes of that.
Oh yeah.
So you're like,
sometimes
okay.
we would get that during the match. We go out there, have an entrance, have a commercial break, come back, and they'd be like, "Hey, we cut 3 minutes." So
There'd be many times Stevie Richard would lean in and be like, "We're starting with the heat," and and it's just time-wise because they will go to commercials.
What I always say is that's the job we get paid for.
Yeah.
It's not to wrestle.
No.
It's not because we do these amazing matches. The reason that WWE superstars get paid so much is because of the stress. It's the
Right.
mental torture,
Yeah.
emotional torture that comes with being in that company. That's why I can't really complain, because at the end of the day, our schedule was easy peasy compared to most wrestlers, right? I mean, I won't give an exact number, but for a 3-year contract, we're making over $1 million.
Wow, good on you. Good for you.
Which is insane.
Good for you both.
But when you think about
Remember when I said I was paying you for this? Not anymore.
and more than that.
Yeah.
And I will always appreciate that I have a roof over my family's head because of what WWE provided for me.
Yeah.
But I will say this, we were not getting paid to wrestle, we were getting paid to be depressed.
Now, during my time, if I did need days off, I mean, you had to have a good reason. I got days off one time for a wedding, my buddy's wedding, where I was the best man. They didn't give me days off when I wanted to go to my high school reunion. So how was it for you guys?
it was kind of similar. You could ask for days off and give them a reason. Sometimes you wanted to try and play your days off around, what you've got going on TV.
Video game tournaments?
You got a big video game tournament, you can't miss. Mansoor, for example, was there for the birth of his daughter. And we were sent to, we got a message, what was it, the same day or the day after?
The night that my daughter was born, I got a call because we were on SmackDown and my daughter was born on a Saturday. And I got a call and they said, "We need you for Raw. You're being moved to Raw. Can you fly out tomorrow?" And it was on speakerphone. And I looked at my wife holding our infant daughter, our newborn, and she just looked at me and she just nodded.
Go.
And I said, "I'll be there."
Because we had not gotten an opportunity at that point, and they seemed like they had something for us. And I didn't want to be the one that forced them to go, but I was like, we can't miss this.
Yeah. And you have to take those opportunities when they present themselves, because like you say, you don't know when or if they're coming back. I remember thinking to myself, these pay-per-view checks are never gonna stop. And one day they do. So I understand what you're saying. Well guys, we've learned so much today. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, you can find us 2 or 3 times a week at twitch.tv/greatblackotaku, where we do what we do here today. We tell stories and we hang out.
Am I invited on?
Absolutely, come on.
Book it. And make sure you click the link to check them out.